God really challenged me one day around that time. A person shared her testimony at church, and just what I remember was Revelation 3:16, because you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth like vomit. And that just hit me. It was like, man, that's me. I'm just going through the motions here. I'm saying I'm a Christian. Everyone knows that. But the truth is that behind the scenes, I had a lot of stuff in my life that was unclean. There was attitudes and things that I'd got myself involved in that weren't God-honouring. And so God really hit me. It's like, I went home and I just lay down on my carpet before God and I said, God, I'm just not worthy. I'm not worthy to say I'm a Christian. You know, I'm saying it with my mouth, but I'm not living it with my life. And to me, I was doing a Jacob with God. I just did a wrestle where I just said, God, I've believed in you all my life, but I've actually never experienced you. I've never felt your touch. So I remember this November 1994. And so I just said, God, I'm not leaving here, lying on the carpet, until you touch me. And so I did that, and I just kept going over the same things. God, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. And after about an hour and a quarter, I just started crying. And I knew that was God. I'd cried once in 15 years when my dog had got run over. But some stuff had happened as a young fella, and I just hardened my heart. And so starting to cry, I knew that God was turning up. And so I went and talked to my pastor and just shared some stuff and cleared the decks a bit. And I just... my pastor said to me, he said, look, I really believe God wants to touch you at church tonight. And so that night I went forward during a time of prayer and just knelt before God. And as I did, I was prayed for. And again, nothing happened, but I'd learned something that afternoon about really just holding on, hungering after God. And as I did that, after about 5 minutes, just a lightning bolt hit me. The power of God, just, man, from head to foot, I just felt the presence, the power of God just roll right through me. And the best description I can give, it was like being electrocuted, other than being painful. It was like liquid love just flowing down through me. And again, it just broke me to tears, just knowing and experiencing Jesus' love. And that moment, I moved from knowing about Jesus and I guess loving him from my head to falling in love with him. And that day changed my life. A man then actually came up and spoke in my ear, and he said, God says that you are worthy, which blessed me hugely. I mean, that person had no idea what I'd been saying to God at home, I'm not worthy, and God just spoke right back into that place. In the week that followed, Jesus just started speaking to my heart, and he just started saying, I want you to start loving the people that you're dealing with. And I just said, God, I can't do that. I mean, say my heart had become really hard and judgmental, and even hatred had come into that place. And I said, God, I can't do that, but I give you permission to help me to change. And I just saw really God took that permission I gave him and walked with me. And I just saw him put a heart of flesh and a heart of compassion where there'd been a heart of stone. And, I can honestly say the people I deal with, I just love now. God's just given me a beautiful love that my desire is to help and do what I can, whether it's physical or spiritual, to make a difference in those people's lives. So a few months after that, early 1995, I had gone down to Gore for a brother's wedding, and while there I went off to a church one night. I'd never been there before. I just was hungry to be somewhere where the Spirit of God was moving, and the worship time went. It was country and western music, which I found very interesting. And but then the pastor got up to preach, and he got a few minutes into what he was saying. And then you could see it was like he was losing his lines, and he pointed me out in the church. There was a gathering of 100, 150 people, and he began to prophesy, and he said, I can see that you work with hard men, and God is calling you to share with those men. And people will look at those men and they'll say it's impossible that they will change, but God is going to use you to bring change into their lives. And that just blew me away. I guess it took a heart that God was cultivating, but it gave it a direction and a purpose. And there are other aspects to that word, but I've walked in that word, and I just started sharing with the people that I came across, and And God taught me how to do that. He taught me how to do it not by obligation, that I had to try and suddenly save the world. Taught me how to do it just by listening to His Spirit and the promptings of the Spirit. You know, there's a person you need to share with, who needs to hear. And I even found where I got it wrong, God just turned up the volume. And I found Him, you know, just very gracefully taught me how to minister, love, share with the people that I was encountering. And so in recent years, when, you know, He's taught me through the understanding the glory realm, to take that another level from just sharing or helping physically, but ministering spiritually and seeing the power of God. So, yeah, that's been an awesome journey to go on.